Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to the Master Your Mindset podcast. Today we have Claire back with us. Hello, Claire.
Hey Jess, hey everybody. Talking
Yay!
about manifesting. I can't wait.
Yes, today we are talking all about manifesting. So excited for this. I say that every time, to be honest, but I mean, I'm excited for everything. But yeah, so I just thought that we should just get straight into it. This is episode 3 out of our 6, so we're talking about manifesting today.
Yay. And yeah, I probably say this with everything that I do, but like this is one of my favorite topics. I think that's the advantage of doing this series is I get to talk about all six of my favorite passions. So yeah, I'm all in. I'm ready to talk.
And if you listened to the podcast episode last time on past life regression, you would have heard Claire say the exact same thing about past life regression. So
Yeah, I guess
you're
it
probably
comes
going to
back
hear her say, yeah.
comes back to anything that gives us that sense of empowerment. I'm just like all in. So yeah, this has been a dream come true. I've been manifesting this conversation with you for what feels like years or a
Yay.
lifetime. So yay.
Oh, and it's just the passion for me. I love it. So yeah, let's get straight into it. And I wanted to ask you, so in a nutshell, how do you define what manifesting means?
Yeah, in a nutshell, manifesting is to prepare your mind, your body, and soul for the outcome that you want. It really is that simple. Manifesting is preparing yourself for the outcome that you want. So there seems to be this really big idea of manifesting is like rubbing the genie lamp and it's like instant sort of like your goals and things appearing. But when it comes down to the definition of manifesting, it is preparing your mind, your body, and your soul for the outcome that you want. So it's a little bit like that, running that race. It's the run that is manifesting, not the actual getting to the ribbon and the finish line.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, actually, because you do hear a lot of people say manifesting in the way that you like around what you're saying around the genie and the lamp. It's actually really cool to hear that. Yeah, I love that. so, so if where do we begin when we want to manifest something into our life?
Yeah, well, the truth is that we are manifesting all the time.
Yeah.
We're manifesting all the time. So if you're somebody who's got a scarcity mindset or focused on a lot of debt, the universe that we live in is quite inclusive. If you're focused on debt, you're going to continue to manifest in more debt. And until you actually get some coaching or do some work around it to be able to focus on the gratitude, the abundance that is around you and that is on its way, the universe can't bring that in until you actually choose a different choice on what you're focused on. So this is where we start with manifesting is the knowledge that we're manifesting right now. We're manifesting each and every moment. So yeah, does that make sense in the sense of manifesting all, all the time, Jess?
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I say this often to, friends and family, where no matter what we're doing, whether we like it or not, whether we think it or not, we are manifesting at every moment. So something that I've, been working on in the past actually is learning what language to use when I'm trying to manifest, or just every day actually, because like you say, like yeah, we're manifesting all the time. So it's the words that we use when we're focusing on debt. That's what we're coming. Rather change it to something like, I'm excited to be, pay off my debt or not. You don't want to use the debt word, but you know what I mean? Like you're trying to, this is what I mean about how I'm trying to work on it.
Well, let me rescue you there, Jess. So
Yes, rescue me.
when I was doing my NLP masters, my trainer had actually said to me, instead of focusing on debt, change the word to commitment. And gosh, that was that one word. You're right about the word, getting the wording right. You feel into the energy of debt, and your whole body sort of restricts, and there's sort of like a yuckiness. But the honor in paying off a commitment was like, yeah, I can do that. The energy lightens, and so it does matter about the words that we do use when it comes to what we're manifesting. The minute that you go into that sense of enlightenment of, yeah, I can do that, I can pay off that commitment, all of these opportunities start coming in that just makes your energy lighter. And it's like, yep, that's the goal that I want to achieve. So, does that
Mm.
help you there, Jess, with the word
Yes,
commitment?
thank you. Yeah, thank you. I was trying to find the word. I'm like, what word am I going to use? But yeah, that is definitely something that, like I said, I have been trying to work on, like the language around things, because I have realized that I am manifesting. So why not start manifesting in the things that I want rather than not, rather than focusing on, the lack, rather focus on the abundance side of it. Um, but I did want to ask you something around sort of when we are having a more negative day, or, we're feeling a little bit, on the negative side for that day. And we have the knowledge that we are manifesting every single day. Does this affect, what we are trying to manifest in? Because I know a lot of people freak out about that a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that one too. With the if you're having a bad day, is it going to impact your manifesting? Yes, but thing is, if we're having our buttons being pushed, if we're triggered, if we're having that low moment, and I get them too, believe me, it's those are the golden nuggets that indicate why your manifestation hasn't arrived yet. So reflecting on a client who's going through a divorce, she needs him to sign the paperwork. Why hasn't he signed the paperwork? Her power's going to him and she's feeling drained and she's getting sick and all of this. And it's like, whoa, instead of being sick, let's choose a different thought. Let's actually put into the universe and that energy of like, thank you for that signature that sets me free. Thank you for that signature. Thank you for that new house. Thank you for the things that are to come. So instead of being focused on that scarcity, it's like choose a different thought. And you're right there, Jess, when you're like having that bad day, maybe you just need to sleep it off and know that tomorrow is a new day to set the intention to bring in a brighter, better focus. So, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, the language around it, and it's all a process, isn't it? A learning process,
When you
especially when
think
you're,
of
yeah.
No, when you think about like the previous time where you were maybe stressed and things, I know how proactive you are, Jess, when it comes to, okay, my buttons have been pushed and you've been able to build that muscle and that self-awareness to say my buttons have been pushed. I have a different choice. I can either wallow and stay in this, or I can go and talk to my healer, my coach, anybody there to get a different perspective on a different, again, a different choice. So like when you think back to like the last time that you were kind of stressed, like these tools, right?
Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. But I guess the next thing that I have is it is all connected, but there is a lot of talk around the law of attraction. And I guess this is what it is when you're having a bad day, like attracts like, right? And it's the same when you're having a positive day, like attracts like. But what does this have to do with manifestation?
Yeah. So the law of attraction is that indicator that is that like the universe is going to mirror exactly how you're feeling. I'm someone who believes that the universe is going to be a mirror to let you know where you're at. Not and in that there is a level of support, like we know like the universe has your back. But it's not that the universe has your back and it will bring you good things. The universe has your back and will be quite direct with you to know to feedback what needs to change within the scenario that you find yourself in. So 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 I've gone off on a different path there compared to your question there, Jess. But when it comes to the law of attraction, there are 11 other laws when it comes to the universe. Now, I haven't studied each and every one of those, but I do understand that the law of attraction is going to manifest and bring in scenarios to mirror exactly where you're at, to be able to recognize, like, if you're on the road and you're attracting in heavy traffic, lots of red lights, road rage, all of that, then I would be sitting in traffic going, okay, where am I stewing? Why am I stressed? Why am I attracting this? Knowing that in a previous relationship, he would always attract, he was so angry, he would always attract in the heavy duty traffic versus me driving Miss Daisy, feeling really calm, the exact same roads and not attracting that. So so it's that mirror again, I keep using that word, but it's the law of attraction will give you that sense of what you're putting out into the universe. So yeah.
Mm. It's actually funny because I won't name names, but someone in my life, someone in my life, they are their road rage is quite bad, and I noticed that it does attract in more and more and more and more and more. I used to be like this, not that bad, but I used to be a little bit of a road rage person, but not anymore. Just with the work that I've done, I don't have time for that anymore. It doesn't phase me anymore. I look at it in a different way now, and I noticed that I attract in more, green lights and good drivers, and not those situations where I'm needing to feel angry at it, which is really really interesting because yeah, I definitely can notice the difference between that now with this specific example.
Yeah, well, you just brought it up there, like the work that you've done to resolve some of the anger and why you would attract in the drama in your life. Not going into your privacy, but is what has helped you when it comes to resolving that anger or that drama so that you do see the changes in the outside world, like how you've changed the dance with everybody else. Like, what have you done, Jess?
The words that come to mind is like letting go and forgiveness, but I think that that's just like forgiving and letting go all of the perhaps angry feelings or just like pressure that is within me that is completely nothing to do with road rage, but just
Yeah.
anything that's been within me for my childhood and for previous years. I feel like that's something because now I don't feel as like I want to just blow all the time. And I feel like road rage gives me an excuse to let it out. Whereas like I've used other ways, like whether it's like letting go meditations, whether it's the cord cutting meditations, whether it's like I've even screamed into a pillow
Yeah.
quite quite a few times. That's a really great way of letting go. So I feel like that is the process that I went through of just like letting a lot go. And now I don't have all that built up pressure that I just want to have an excuse to like get angry at someone.
Yeah, and you bring up a brilliant point there that the anger that you've had in relationships and in the past, if that's still kind of festering in you, it's not about the traffic. It's not about how your partner loads the dishwasher that's making you so angry. It's not about that moment. It's about the scenarios and experiences in the past where the anger is just keeping you powerless in multiple areas of your life. And that's
Mhm.
where the manifestation, preparing your mind and your soul, your body for that peace, that freedom that you want, you have to go pull out some weeds from the past so that you can plant that beautiful garden. A lot of metaphors there, but
Mm.
I hope that makes sense.
Well, we all know I love a metaphor, and I'm hoping that the listeners do too. But yeah, it's so true. Like there is so much work. Well, depends on who you are and what's happened for you in your life. There is work to be done. It's not just I'm going to manifest this thing and it's going to happen. There is actually work to be done, and I guess I'm really just understanding this now. But I have done it. I have done the work. I've been doing the work, so that's why manifestations are coming into my life. The things that I want.
Yeah, yeah, and that's exactly it. If you're noticing that pattern playing out, I remember and this was many many years ago, I was manifesting that that black four-wheel drive. I was in domestic violence. I felt a sense of restriction, heaviness every single day. And when I learned about manifestation, it was whether it was the coach at the time, but they were saying, okay, you want that black four-wheel drive, what does that represent for you? That thing that you want outside of you, aka the manifestation, what does that represent for you? And I said to her, well, it represents power, security, being able to get that higher perspective of what's to come, and knowing the place that I was in. I was downtrodden, people pleasing, so low. So I was the complete opposite. And she pointed out to me that everything that you want outside of you is you've got that desire for a reason because you're lacking that within. So what we did then was we coached and we worked through the sense of powerlessness, the lack of security, the lack of trusting that there'd be that safety. And once we worked through a lot of that internal drama, that anger, the powerlessness, I pretty much there was a few other processes that I did, but I pretty much manifested that black four-wheel drive within 3 months. It went from driving this crap box of a car to this beautiful car that gave me that matched my frequency, that gave me what I was looking for. The other ridiculous thing with that manifestation, and I say ridiculous because if you can imagine this again, this old, really awful car, I'm out there polishing it like it's my black four-wheel drive. The neighbors would have thought I was absolutely insane. I've printed out the logo and put it on the steering wheel, and I'm driving like so proud, like with my head held high. I'm driving my black four drive completely in a fantasy world of this car that I didn't know I could trust if it would actually get to me my destination. So there's when we talk about manifesting and the processes, the visualization, doing the internal work, knowing what you want, knowing why you've got that desire. There's a lot of different components that go into manifesting. So I've probably just taken away all of your other questions there, Jess, in that one sentence, but I'll hand it back to you.
Well, I was looking at my questions and I do feel like they are all like really, really connected. So I feel like this is just a great discussion that's kind of like answering everything at once. But something that I was thinking about as you were saying that is I did learn that essentially, and I think this is what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong. Well, with one part of it, essentially, you are manifesting that, let's say, materialistic thing, but really what you are trying to manifest into your life is the feeling, is the actual feeling of that thing, that the feeling that that thing gives you. So,
Yeah,
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 yeah.
100%. And that's where whether it's the emotional feeling or the inner sense, being in the spiritual world, I would say that that's that vibrational match, that sent that I mean, at the end of the day, that material thing, that car, it means nothing, but it was that vibrational match, of that meant that I had something to strive towards to manifest that in. So it is that feeling. But for the visual people out there, it could be the appearance of how it looks, or for the auditory people, it could be the way that it sounds, that grunt of the engine and the like, yep, I'm powerful. So it's not necessarily
Hmm.
just feelings. It depends on your representational system, but that's NLP.
Yeah, that's new for me. That's yeah, I was thinking it was the feeling. So I was always thinking about, how I want to feel, with it. But it makes sense. It's your representational system. I love that. I love that. So another thing that I learned, and I know that you've touched on this in some ways, but is that to manifest the thing into your life that you want, you have to become an energetic match to it. I love using these words. I really, really love using these words, energetic match, because I really feel these words. But yeah, what do you have to say about becoming an energetic match?
Well, let's play with this for a little bit here, Jess. If there, like, is it okay if there's something trivial that you're manifesting that you're happy for the listeners to know about?
I'm just gonna go right out with it. And I'm just gonna say I am manifesting land life.
I thought that was going to be the case.
Yes, I'm manifesting leaving the yachting industry at some stage, my beloved yachting industry, and moving to land to continue with my coaching job. That it just makes more sense to be on land.
Yeah. And so the desire to be on the land is actually more about the sense of stepping into your business, that gives you the sense of freedom of your time, the value that you offer people. So it's not necessarily the goal is to be on land, but the outcome is more to give you that freedom, that time, and all of that comes with it, right?
100% freedom is the word, and especially when it has to do with time. I've been working around, manifesting freedom in my life for the last year and a half, And it started off with a different type of freedom, but for the last year, it's been time for sure. So yeah, spot
Yeah.
on.
So if I was coaching somebody to manifest that and become that vibrational match, I would be having a look at two or three different things. I would be looking at what was the purpose of going into the yachting industry? Because I'm pretty sure that from where you previously were, the yachting industry would have given you a sense of freedom from something else. So the yachting business has given you, or industry has given you a sense of freedom, but you've acquired what you need to, and now your soul is keen to discover a different point of view when it comes to freedom. And so it's not about, so I would say it's not about getting away from the pain of the yachting industry and how it's restricted you, because that in fact it gave you that freedom originally, but you have
Mm,
grown, you've expanded, you've evolved, you've done that work on the anger from the previous chapter, and now your soul is wanting, is your intuition is calling you forward to be that vibrational match for that new identity. And so and so that's where it comes into being that vibrational match, having a look at that, as you were saying, that forgiveness, that surrender for the yachting industry, and like thanking it with all of that appreciation for getting you to this platform. And then at some stage, it'll be closing the door on that and stepping into that new vibrational match. So, so that's how I would perceive that the vibrational match or energetic match.
mm.
Linguistics there.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
wow. It's just all coming to me. It's making so much sense, and it's funny because I'm going to get into something really different really quick here. But this is the power for me of having that guide, having that mentor that can show you your blind spots. Because for me, I'm the type of person that does a lot of self-reflection, and I've reflected to the point where I could see that freedom was what I was searching for. I knew that I know that I'm searching for land life, but I know that it is around freedom. At the same time, I know that it's a different type of freedom that I was searching for than this time last year. I was searching for freedom of, lack of my own identity, lack of knowing even who I was. I was just trying to have that freedom of being completely me. Now I'm trying to find freedom of time. And it's so funny that you bring up even more reflection of like what the yachting industry gave to me in the terms of freedom.
yeah.
It's, yeah, I love this. I love this.
I love this too. I could talk about this all day, which we do, right? We'd spend a couple of hours before we even hit record. It's like, let's talk about this fun stuff with
Yes.
like-minded people who get it.
And I was just thinking, like, I was like, wow, I feel like this episode is going to be like a nice coaching session for Jessie. But it's true. We have been talking for a long time before we pressed record, and I feel like I've been getting coached for quite a while today.
Oh
I'm not
no,
mad
that's
about
just
it.
me. I think even friends say to me, Claire, enough of the coaching. Like, bring your friend hat back on. But once you get excited about this, it's like, oh, let's talk about that sense of empowerment, that passion, that fun,
Mm,
how this all interconnects. Because it's that simple aha, right, Jessie? It's like 80% of the problem is solved just by that aha before we even need to do any of the unconscious inner work, right?
yeah. And just like solving that and like understanding that has already brought my energy up even more than it was. So it's just like, I don't know, this work is just an all-rounder.
Yeah, because I imagine now, instead of the guilt of leaving and the fear of what does that mean, and it's actually now, oh, wow, like, thank you. You've been a blessing. I'm now going to create the space for somebody else to have this freedom. I'm going over here.
This is incredible.
And that would work for even your listeners who are wanting to buy a new house, wanting to start a new relationship, wanting to start a business. There's all of that stuff going on in the past, and maybe it's like, why isn't my house selling? No idea why we're on this theme, but why isn't my house selling? And it's probably not selling because you're walking through the house going, oh, that's where that problem happened, and the gutters need to be, instead of actually going back to the original intention when you first walked into that house, like the promise, the hope, the wonder of what's to come. And if you can actually walk through your home bringing that energy back to the promise, the hope, the wonder. When anytime that you have somebody new coming into the house, they're going to pay top dollar because they want the promise and the hope and the sparkle that's in that space, right? So
Oh my gosh.
this is what I'm talking about with manifesting is choosing a different thought, different perspective, and bring that sparkle back so that at the end of the day, yes, the gutters need to be cleaned, but they'll probably be up that ladder, cleaning those gutters, the hope, the wonder, the baby's on its way, like rather than, oh, the gutters. Do you know what I mean?
I
Gone off
was
on a
just thinking
tangent.
the same. I was just thinking that like this is actually really, really fun. Not that I didn't understand that, but this work is really, really, really fun. Yes, you have to do the letting go and understanding and seeing where you are sort of being more negative about it, seeing where you are focusing on the negative side of it. Like you say with the house, like, oh, why isn't this house selling? But this work can actually be really fun. Like cleaning the gutters can be really, really fun. You're like, oh my gosh, like the house and this happened here and the memories and the beautiful times here. And it's like, oh, and then all of a sudden I'm getting all of this money and more that I even thought that I was going to get from it. This work is fun.
It is. That's why it's such an honor and a privilege to work with people when it comes to setting their goals. Because that's what I say to people. If you're working with me, let's set the really big goals because that way you can appreciate what's getting in the way of achieving that. Instead of restricting yourself and what's expected of you, let's do the really big stuff. The house is a really good example because I had a client who wanted to increase her business, manifest more money. Where is it? Why isn't it not happening? I said, well, if you did have that business, if you did have that money, what would you want? And she was like, I want the big house on the beach, la 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 la. And I said, great. The first thing that comes to mind, what's the worst thing about that beach and all of that? And she said, oh, well, it could be, I can't remember her word, but it could be washed away, it could get taken away. And I said, great. So where else in your life is that fear of it being taken away, the fear of the business being taken away, the fear of the money being taken away? It was this fear that was stopping all of the other manifestations from being able to show up. So the minute that you dissolve and resolve the fear, now as you
Mm.
were saying, like the blind spots drop. Now it's like, I can do this opportunity. And the universe starts bringing in the opportunities for, and actually that particular client, like she got a promotion within her business quite quickly after that session. So it's so much fun to know how quickly things can change when you do that inner work. So yeah.
Wow. Wow. I'm loving this conversation so much. And something that I'm thinking about right now is like when we bring up all of this, but like I do a lot of, abundance work. So meditations, gratitude, and journaling, all the things. And I feel like some of the listeners would do this too. And I do this for multiple reasons. One of them is just to like shift my energy, to bring me up, to get clarification on things, just to be in that great gratitude and an abundant mindset because I love being in it. It's fun. It feels really, really good, right? But what I didn't fully realize is that this is actually playing a really really good part in something that I wasn't like and I'm not realizing like anything that I'm manifesting, just manifesting in life in general, like manifesting a beautiful life. So that's really really cool. And so for the listeners that do some of these gratitude and abundant meditations and journaling or anything that sort of shifts raises your vibration like that, then this is really cool to think about because if you didn't realize that you were manifesting a beautiful life, then you are. So congratulations.
Well, there's 2 points on that. That comes back to the original question of like, what if I'm having a down day and oh, Claire, is this impacting my manifestation? And yes, if you've got that desire for a reason and you're having a down day, where is my beautiful life? Why isn't it happening yet? All of that frustration. This is what I'm talking about is you have to go pull the weeds out. You have to go resolve the fear. You have to go back and resolve the root cause of the anger. Because typically someone will say, I asked for what I wanted back then, it didn't work, so now I better not ask for what I want now. And it's that limitation, that 10-second decision back then, I can't ask for what I want. that stopping, like 10 seconds is stopping that beautiful, oh, listen to me, I'm getting loud. It's stopping that beautiful life from coming in. And it's like, can we do some coaching on that? Especially if you're working with a coach who knows exactly how to get you to that root cause really quickly, it won't take that long. But then the other point that I wanted to make is when it comes to manifesting, I actually don't meditate. So you may we may be playing semantics. If I'm feeling a little bit like my feathers are ruffled, I will go out into my garden and pull weeds and be in that kind of space where it's just me, my garden, clear my mind. But the act of meditation is actually, there's two parts to that. It slows down the momentum of the fear and where you've been focused on. And it does, if you can, bring in the upliftment of what's to come. But you have to be disciplined at knowing the difference. So the act of
Mm,
meditation slows down the the momentum of the yuckiness, very
mm.
professional, more than it actually being part of the manifesting process.
Oh,
Ah.
okay. So much to think about. Oh my gosh. Okay, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. Um, so so rather like I don't know, when you notice that you're in that state of maybe a down day or like a fear is coming up, rather work through that fear instead of like, well, unless you're really good at like knowing the difference between it, rather than slowing it down with the meditation, because that's, taking a little bit of the stress away, rather just like dig deep and just do it. Literally go
Yeah.
out to your garden and pull that weed out.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where I coach differently. You're not going to hear me ask anybody to meditate. I'm going to say, great, let's work on those golden nuggets. You will hear me talk about the importance of self-care, giving back to yourself, receiving that space that you've been giving to so many other people. Like we all do need to have that self-care. But meditation for me is not, if you had said to me, Claire, what's your manifesting process, especially in that car scenario, there was no meditation in that.
Mm. Yep, definitely didn't expect you to say that. Gotta be honest.
The whole Instagram post, right? Meditation doesn't equal manifestation. It does if you need to slow down your mind and
Yeah,
you have to work through it yourself.
yeah,
You got your coach booked in a fortnight. So yeah, okay, meditate. But
yeah,
it's not strictly part of this. It's not strictly a step that you need to go into to manifest.
yeah. Okay, that's really good to know. That is really good to know. And especially for the listeners, I think they're going to be very thankful for that too. Not saying you don't have to meditate. Personally, I love meditation.
Yeah, yeah. If it
But
gives you something, if it's part of your
yeah.
self-care versus I'm manifesting the car, so I'll go meditate. And I'm like, you're actually going to have to take
Mm,
action on that.
okay, okay. Wow. Yeah, so I just wanted to know a little bit about the body connection with manifestation.
Oh, okay. And when it comes to, I could go right into that answer, but first let's go a little bit more specific. Are you thinking of a scenario or you want me to just start off there?
I'm pretty happy with you to start off.
Okay. So when it comes to, believe it or not, when it comes to the human body, we're not supposed to be sick. We're not supposed to be sick. Anytime, if you've got that intuition, that purpose, that thing that lights you up, you are going to be energized by it. So I can appreciate that, yes, the human body can be tired because it's part of our natural rhythm, but you're not supposed to be sick. So if you are noticing yourself getting sick, then it's telling you that your soul is out of alignment. Now, you may need to actually solve that, whether it's this lifetime, a past life, or beyond. But if somebody's holding back something that they want to say, they tend to manifest a sore throat. And and this sore throat, the suppression, this is the fear that needs to be worked through. Why are you fearful of speaking up? What happened in the past that stopped you from speaking your truth? Because once you're able to follow your intuitive path and speak your truth, hell yes, I want that black four-wheel drive. I'm not putting up with your nonsense. This is what I want. This is the actions that I'm putting in place to get it. versus all of that suppressed energy. So
Mm.
anytime I'm working with somebody who has, I ask a client to fill out a pre-coaching questionnaire, and the person who fills out to say, this is what I want, and I've been sick, and I've got endometriosis, or I've got back problems, or rashes, or an excess of pimples. I'm like, great. The body is telling us where you're out of alignment to achieve exactly what you want. So I could
Mm.
talk about this for days, but I'll stop and let you give me a bit of an
No.
aha or any questions there. Jess.
I actually would love to talk about this for days, but I'm thinking about a lot of things right now. So something that I'm just going to make this about me for a second, just to give you examples. Um, something that before I was decided that I was going to be a mindset coach, and then I started having a little bit of a well, maybe as I decided, and then I started having a little bit of fear around being seen and like speaking out and not sure if my message is good enough, imposter syndrome, things like that. To take it a little bit step back further, I used to get told to be quiet quite a lot by one person that really hurt. And I think I'm a loud person. I do, but that really, really hurt me. So there was obviously fears and thoughts and stories being built around all of this.
Yeah,
So funny because as soon as I just let go of the fear of being seen and just decided that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this mindset coaching, I have a message to share and it is good enough and it is going to help people and it is going to make an impact.
yeah.
I my jaw stopped hurting. Did I even mention that? Did I tell you that my jaw was
No, you
hurting?
did
Because that
mention the
was
body connection.
that was actually my whole point. My jaw was really, really hurting for a long time. And that would be the place that I would hold stress all the time. It wouldn't be my shoulders. It wouldn't be anything like that. It would be my jaw. And it's so interesting. And even sometimes I can notice, not it doesn't happen often at all, but sometimes when I sort of everyone thinks that I'm clenching my teeth. I don't think that I am, but like I can just feel it start like coming into my jaw. And I'm like, okay, look, I need to have a chill out now. I need to have a think here and I need to reframe whatever it is. And then it just sort of goes away. So this is so
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what you just described there is absolutely perfect to your listeners. There, you articulated really well that your intuition knew that you were here. Your soul's purpose is to have a message to help people have that beautiful life. That's part of your purpose, and yet your ego was formed when you were little, and you had taken on board all of the conditionings and needing to be safe, needing to people please, shut up, all of that stuff. And so coming to a point where it's like actually the ego, I don't want the ego to have such a grip on me anymore. You've done that inner work of the anger and the tension and the brute force of having to shut up. And the ego has had a less of a grip on you now. And you've taken away
Mm.
those layers so that you've got that pure access to your intuition going, yes, this is what I'm meant to be doing. Bye bye imposter syndrome. Bye bye the fear,
Yeah.
because we do want you to speak up, Jess. Like you ask the most dynamic, beautiful questions, and just the feedback that I get is like this makes a difference to people's lives. These simple but beautiful conversations makes a difference. So yay for doing the work and getting rid of the
Yay. It's actually funny because I'm just thinking about absolutely everything that's being a body connection, with manifestation in my that's happened for me and that I'm noticing now. So it's really, really funny. uh, but yeah, that's a little exercise that people can do at home, like start thinking about where in my body has there been like a strange sensation or, some sort of pain or some sort of hurt and sort of maybe you can bring it back. Maybe there's some sort of connection, but maybe
maybe
there's
the universe
maybe
knocks at your door to take notice.
maybe that's
Love
exactly what it is.
it.
But yeah, so that's really, really cool. So yeah, was that everything? Was that everything that we wanted to speak on? Because I know that there's a lot to do with the body connection.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's its own podcast in itself, but when
Mm.
people start waking up to their spiritual awakening, learning about manifestation, learning about letting go of the material world, how the ego holds onto that 3D, you may notice that your body does bring up stuff to the surface now that you're in a more empowered place to work through it. Your body may bring up stuff to the surface that it's like, right, um, I need some coaching on that, or I need to go get some healing, Reiki, kinesiology, whatever's right
Mm.
for you. So yeah, so when it comes to when it thinking about trying to bring in another example, and even thinking about a little one who may be coming home from school coughing a lot. Now, coughing is I'll start again. We're here, we've got that vulnerable temple of our body, and we're here at Earth in this environment. Now, if the environment out there becomes too stressful, then it makes it a lot harder for us to breathe that into our beautiful sacred space. So that's where we can form things like
Mm.
asthma. If the tension and pressure or the perceived tension is out there, then it's really good clues. My poor children, if they've come home with a cough or some sort of an issue, it really highlights to me that there's maybe some bullying going on, that they're not feeling confident, they're not feeling like the master of their own world. There's this cough and suppression of their power. It's like, right, what's going on here? So this can go into little people, it can go into any particular age. So just for
Mm.
the listeners out there, and I think we may have spoken about it in past lives podcasts, but even things like um, food allergies and things like that. If somebody's got if somebody's got an experience when they were little, they were eating their wheat bix or their dairy of some sort, the parents are becoming really tense and arguing. The body takes in that dairy and then it associates the stress to the dairy. And so moving forward into your adulthood, there's this allergy to dairy or whatever it may be. And the thing is, instead of your body, your bowels, your stomach holding on to the tension of the past, you can go in and actually resolve that so that the dairy allergy goes away. And keeping people's expectations realistic, like it may take a few sessions, but the fact that you don't have to be trapped by the past anymore is so liberating.
Mm. Mm. And I'm just thinking about that now. I think that's a really great example because um, I think the listeners will either have or know of someone that has something similar to that, like about like IBS and all those sort of issues. They're quite
Yep.
common these days, right? Or so I feel like that's something to really think about. And like you say, it might not just be like a quick fix. It might actually take some time because it's just so deeply inside you, right? So
Yep.
but and then something that I wasn't actually going to bring up, but I feel like I'm going to bring it up because the listeners might resonate with this as well, because I know that like quite a few people do get this. But basically, something that's come up for me most recently is that I have been getting rashes on my forearms,
Yep.
and now that I've been doing the coaching sessions with you, I've been starting to figure out why and where this is coming from and how to sort of start moving through that. And my rashes have been with me for quite a while before I decided that I'm going to talk to Claire about them. I know, I don't know
Went to the
why.
dermatologist and all of the other stuff. Yeah.
I literally we were talking about. I was kind of being passionate last with the last episode about past life regression when I was speaking about Western medicine this and Western medicine this, but I was that person. I did it. I guess I didn't see through, and I went and there was no cures. There was nothing that really helped me, and I was
Yep.
really annoyed about it. And they've been with me for like, I'm going to say like 5 weeks now. One of them has been with me for years, but we'll talk about the ones on my forearms. And I, yeah, so rashes or eczema, that's sort of something that I've had all my life, but only since I've been talking to Claire about it and figuring it out and letting it go and whatever work that I need to do with it, my rashes are slowly starting, well, it's not slowly, they were slowly starting to go away, but they're almost gone now. And I'm so happy about it. But yeah, the reason that I bring this up is just because for the listeners, if you are someone that gets eczema or rashes, maybe it's not just because it is what it is. Maybe there actually is a reason behind it, and you too can go deep within and figure out that reason, and maybe you won't have to worry about this ever again.
Yeah, no more dermatologists and expensive creams and sore nights on your, yeah, absolutely. You can resolve that. And it's such a blessing for your listeners, Jess, when you're being so vulnerable with that. Like, yeah, there's a rash, but it doesn't have to be that way. So yeah, I want to
Mm,
applaud you for sharing that, because that's not always easy to admit to. But the thing with, we'll just sort of like close that one up. The thing with the skin is the barrier between you and the outside world. Again, so if you've got that vulnerability, and there's beauty and strength in your vulnerability. Like you've got you, who you are, that core of you. And if you're finding yourself triggered or in a tense environment, your skin is the barrier between you and the environment. And if you are not able to speak your truth and let people know, you've got to back off, this is my boundary, then the skin will show the people around you, back off, this is my boundary. So if you think about
mm,
somebody who's on an aeroplane and you've been allocated that much space, and your elbows are there, or your forearms, but your elbows are there to dictate where your boundary is. And if you've got that rash, it's your unconscious mind telling people to give you some space. So the
mm,
way that I would manifest that beautiful skin to come back is to have a look at where your boundaries aren't being respected, and do the inner
mm,
work where that first started, so that the skin doesn't have to do that job anymore, and you're completely free to have that beautiful skin. These are my boundaries, people. You don't even have to say it, you just sort of hold it in your energy field. But yeah, and this is where that topic of manifestation, people bring it back to needing to attract in money and abundance and houses and material stuff. But bringing it back to that point that we're manifesting all the time, that if you're having some not so comfortable symptoms, you've manifested that, which means you can manifest the solution.
I love that. I love that so much. And it's funny because when you were speaking just now, and I was thinking about what's the overall thing, boundaries, all of this, freedom. It's freedom, and that's because that's what I want. That's what I'm trying to manifest, and that's what I'm trying to manifest even more of, isn't it? Like in a different way now. So yeah, very, very interesting. I love
I love how you
it.
can piece it back together, going, yeah, the greater purpose of that is freedom. And the thing is, Jess, once you connect into knowing that you are a free light in this symphony of the universe, like once you know that to be true, then your body comes back to good health. Like it's like, I am free.
Yeah. And I know that we're not talking about this, but I mentioned it a bit before. This, I don't know if you can hear this, like you can hear me doing reflection myself. And this is why I'm bringing up examples of myself, not just because I want to share it necessarily, but being vulnerable. Like this could resonate with you at home. So this is the reason that I have volunteered myself and my stories to hopefully help you in some way. And definitely through the expert of Claire as well. So this is great. But anyway, that wasn't my point. I wanted to say that you can hear me doing this self-reflection, and you can see that I'm sort of getting to some answers. So essentially, I'm always going to get there, right? But this is the importance of having that guide or that mentor to help you get there faster. Because this, with the knowledge that I had and the self-reflection, I could have gone away and figured it out. Maybe in a couple of weeks' time, the ahas would come to me. I'd be like, I'd realize completely the whole reason. But then you have someone like, especially for me in my life, I have someone like Claire who can just reflect that one little blind spot that I'm not quite seeing, that gets me there so much faster. So I know that that's not the point of this podcast, but I really do believe in this. I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, no, I would encourage people, as we're talking, Jess is bringing this up for a reason. And it's like, yeah, do the self-reflection. Where am I holding myself back? How is it impacting my family, my wealth, my happiness? And, like a simple decision to invest in yourself when it comes to coaching. I know we're not promoting coaching, but or kinesiology, healing, whatever's right for you, that
Yeah.
that could save you, your children, your business, your marriage, just by
Mm.
that one little aha, that wake up call to shift your perspective. And like, it's that easy. But
Yes, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. So something I mentioned on the podcast last time with the past life regression that I was going to go straight to your website and I'm going to utilize the beautiful free resources that we get. And this was about twin flames. But something else that I came across is that you have this resource about mirror manifesting. And
Yeah.
so I was really, really intrigued, and I would love to know a little bit more about mirror manifesting and, other tips and tricks that you have to manifest.
Yeah, yeah. The mirror manifesting is about knowing your self-worth. So the mirror that you see, sorry, the version of you see of yourself in the mirror, and how much love, compassion, self-care do you bring to that reflection of who you are. So the mirror manifesting is a prompt to say, okay, have a look at where you're holding yourself back, the low self-worth, how you're judging yourself. Because the minute that you start judging yourself, your energy becomes stuck. You are stuck to the past, you're stuck to the heaviness, and it's that self-judgment that stops you from being able to bring in those beautiful opportunities. So instead of going to the mirror and judging yourself, hating your skin, hating your pimples, hating your hair, why is my nose so big, it's actually bringing some self-compassion to yourself. And in that act alone, you raise your frequency to be able to have that sparkle, that fun, that play, so more opportunities come in rather than keeping yourself at that low vibration. So that's where it's just a little fun play on words, but that mirror manifesting comes back to that self-love. So
Mm.
when it comes to building up your self-worth, that self-confidence, knowing what you want, it is about, let me backtrack a little bit. I'm an NLP trainer. I teach people NLP. And NLP, for those listeners out there, is NLP, neuro linguistic programming, a fancy name for what is ultimately a transformational modality. Once you understand how you speak to yourself, the language that you use for yourself, the language that's going on within you, you can start changing your mindset, your beliefs, your behavior, your actions, your outcome on the outside world. You completely change the dance of your experience here. And so when it comes to NLP, we teach something what's called the RAS. Now, the RAS is the filter between you and the outside world, how you perceive the world. And if you can set your filter to look for opportunities, to look for the goals, to look for what sets your heart on fire, smiling, happy, if you can tell your RAS and train your RAS what to look out for, then you will start to attract in more of those opportunities. So the tips I would give people when it comes to just starting out that self-coaching, that manifesting, is to get those. I don't have a vision board, I have a vision wall. We lay in bed and you can see all of the goals, the dreams, the holidays. It's like, look, David, we're doing that. So I'm setting, and it's inside my kitchen pantry. You open up the door for your brekkie. There are all the renovations, the holidays, the things that I want. They are all over my house. And so I'm tricking my RAS, my filter of my unconscious mind, to look out for opportunities like that. Go on a drive and you'll see that I need a landscape gardener. Like, oh, there's a gardener, there's a gardener, and it's like, okay, start training your mind to look out for those opportunities. I also have on my phone screen, the pictures of the holidays and the things that I want to experience. And so again, I'm training my unconscious mind to look out for opportunities like that. The screensavers, I also set alarms on my phone. Like it'll be, I've got crazy alarms set on my phone for like 12 months time of like, yes, you've achieved the goal, whatever that is. And so I I I play with the possibility of being able to create that rather than going into the logic of why I can't have that. So I have so many other examples of the ways that you can start to play with it. I know you're a really good one on journaling, right, Jess?
Yes, I do love journaling. Yes, this is true.
How does the journaling help you manifest?
I feel like, well, I'm starting to understand a lot of the things that I'm doing is actually manifesting things into my life, whether I'm intentionally doing it for that specific reason or not. And I feel like I use journaling for a lot of self reflection. I feel like that's my number one purpose that I use journaling for, self reflection. So I'm just trying to think about it now. As at the same time, I'm also journaling down the things that I want in my future. So that whether it is feelings or it is things or it is goals, the outcomes of the goals, I do I guess I do write it down about everything. So maybe
Yeah,
that's where I'm coming from. So like I do the reflection part, maybe that's the letting go, understanding, clarity, and then the writing down the future desires, the the goals, the outcomes, the feelings. So yeah.
yeah. So sort of getting clarity, having a little bit of freedom to have the clarity to list out what I don't want, blah, 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 had enough of this, blah, 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 had enough of that, get it out of your system with the journaling, flick the page, and then going, well, with the sentence space now, this is actually what I do want, right? Like that's how I imagine you would do
Mm,
your journaling.
exactly. Yes, that's so true.
So you're
um,
manifesting. Yay.
yay. I mean, it's so funny because I'm one to say you're manifesting every minute of your life, whether you know it or you're not, whether you're doing it intentionally or you're not. And now I'm just like actually starting to realize what I'm telling everyone. So yeah, I had a few thoughts there. So one of the cool things I thought of, I feel like this might be an example that goes around a lot, but I feel like it's one for everyone to understand easily when you're talking about what you're focusing on externally. Something that I was thinking about is it's like when you get yourself a yellow car or a yellow specific car. I don't know. I'm not good on cars. I don't know why I chose this, but a
The yellow
yellow
Tesla or something. Yep.
a yellow Tesla. And all of us, you haven't seen these before. It's just the one thing that you saw and you wanted, you got. And then all of a sudden, you're driving down the motorway or the highway or the freeway, wherever in the world you're from, and you're seeing all of these yellow Teslas, and you're like, wow, that's so funny. Like, I'm just all of a sudden, I hear people say this all the time. All of a sudden, I see the same car all the time. So it's so funny because you're actually putting your focus into that yellow Tesla because that's the car that you got, that's the car you wanted, that's the car you bought. Now you're driving this car, you're seeing this car every single day. And all of a sudden, you're seeing all of those yellow Teslas that were always there, but you're only just noticing them now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's the raz at work. And that's where I would be saying, if that's happening to you, if you're starting to see those signs, I would be asking the universe, how can this get any better? And just putting it out there, how can this get better? And then just starting to invite the energy of the next manifestation to start leading its way, to start showing you how it can get better. Because
take it to that next step.
yeah, take
Yep.
us to the next step. And then I guess the other thing, if we think about putting you on the spot again, Jess, and giving a quick demonstration of like how our, and in NLP we do teach this, but when you think about that picture of you being on land, having that sense of freedom, the business that you want around you, where is that picture at the moment?
Do you mean location wise?
Yeah, around, like, where around you is that picture of you on land with your business? Where is that picture?
This is a really hard one for me to say because some people in my life, which I shouldn't be worried about, won't like this answer. But when you say that, and I know that you always say the first thing that comes to your mind, whether this is what you mean or not, but a lot of that, this is a lot for me to say, but
No,
is
hold on,
in
before
South
you go
Africa.
there,
No, it's
just
fine. It's fine.
thinking about the
It's fine.
picture, where is it around you?
No, but this is what I want to
All right.
say. It's in
All
South
right.
Africa,
It's in that.
and that could
No.
bring up a lot.
No, thinking about you being in your body right now, we all hold our experiences in images and places around our body. So if I think about my yesterday, that's behind me. When I think about my future manifestation of whatever I'm manifesting, I know it's about here in a relation to my body. So when you get in touch with that picture, that knowing that you will be on land, that you will be running your business, where is that picture around your body? Where is that?
Oh, I completely understand now. Yeah, definitely here, forward. That's
Is
where I
there
see
forward?
everything in the future. Yeah.
And so when that picture's there forward, I want you to just sort of bring that picture more into the center. And then I want you to
Okay.
get that picture, even if you do it, get your body involved and actually bring that picture right up close to your nose. Bring it center, bring it right up close. And can you feel your body like just completely like tingle, or like this rush of like, oh my gosh, like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can. I really can.
I'm going to get your unconscious mind to lock that into place. But right now, what's happening is your body is bringing that into the alignment of more certainty that this is actually going to happen. This is your focus. This is, no matter what, this is what you want. Because so many times people will have you could drop your hands because it's in place now. But so many times people have this vision of, they talk about the future of having that yellow Tesla and it's over there or it's over there. And the minute that you start to actually give them permission to know what they want and bring it right up front, their whole body, their nervous system, their neural pathways go, whoo, okay. And you get the excitement rather than the, "Oh, it's
Mm,
over there and it's heavy." Does that make sense?
mm. Yeah, I quite like that. And I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm getting from this is you're bringing it in. You can only focus on so much at like completely focus on so much at once, right? So like when you actually physically get your hands and bring it in from wherever around you that you notice it is and bring it right in front of you, that's literally right in front of your mind's eye and your eyes physically. So that is what you're focusing on, right? Rather than it being right out in your peripheral vision, but there's something else that is placed here. This is
Yeah.
what you're actually going to be focusing on because it's right directly in front of you.
Yeah, and if you're a feeling based, let's bring it down and bring it into your heart space and like let's like get
Mm,
that feeling to come in. But it's just the different, I mean, this is only a 5 second sort of example, but the way that our nervous system works, the way that I'll go fancy, but the way that our nervous system works in the electromagnetic field, if we've got our vision or our goal outside of ourselves and actually bring it more into certainty, it makes your decision making a lot easier, it makes your values a lot easier, it makes your actions a lot more easier, it makes your mindset more easier. This is what I want. And then this new Jess, do you want to go to Disneyland? I'm like, no, I want this. Jess, do you want da 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 da?
yes.
No, this is what I want. And so I'm not sure if we're really talking about manifesting, but this is this is the stuff that I like to play with clients to know, like, you want this for a higher purpose. What can we do to bring in that certainty that this is what we are manifesting? This is the goal.
Yeah, I really love that because what I'm getting from this is you are kind of getting your priorities straight. Like you said, do you want to go to Disneyland? Actually, no, because that doesn't really align. I know that that's right here and right now, but that doesn't really align with my vision. That maybe it's something that you're manifesting money in to get, right? But
Yeah.
you're spending all your money on Disneyland, but you don't actually want that feeling. Although that's really cool, you don't actually want that feeling. You want this feeling, and you're rather getting your priorities in check and like, actually, no, because I'm working towards this. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and I just realized, if your listeners, they are listening, they can't see our hands gesturing. So
Oh, yes.
jump on Claire's YouTube channel. You'll see me do my
Yes.
theatrics.
Yeah, definitely go watch this on Claire's YouTube channel because you'll understand you'll get it with all our hand motions and everything.
Yeah. So
Mm,
we can, again, when you were asking that, like, what are some tricks and tips that we can use to manifest? Go and talk to somebody who's trained in NLP to be able to actually help you with these tools and tricks. Because the opposite of that really quickly is, if you've got this dark, heavy story in front of you, let's shrink it down. Let's make it black and white. In fact, let's move that picture behind us. Like, that is not in the foreground anymore. So it goes
mm,
both ways, like your journaling, getting rid of the crap that we don't want to know what we do want.
yeah, okay, cool. I really, really like that. And it's coming to my mind now that I did a process with you not too long ago about this, and it works straight away. Straight
Yeah.
away. Yeah. Wow. And that was actually like I don't know if it was a limiting belief, but more of like a fear that I didn't really realize I had. But I just spoke to it really, really fast, and all of a sudden it was gone. And it didn't stay within me for so long to manifest into more and more. So that's really, really cool. And that's a really cool trick. I love it.
Yeah, instead of meditating for 3 hours, let's just move the picture.
Yeah, just look. And then something else that you were mentioning was about the language that you use with yourself with the mirror manifesting. So, what I kind of got from that, or something that I could resonate with that, is um, literally looking in the mirror and saying my affirmations to me myself. So, there was this time I had never used affirmations before, and I decided that I'm going to try it because I figured out that there was all these things that I wanted in my life. This is before I had manifested, I did an episode week ago or so ago around my biggest manifestation that I've got into my life, which was my current partner. And I there was like, so I did this process before I had him and before I had any sort of self love, before I had all the things that I really desired, the feelings, right? So I played with this a lot. Like I had so much fun with this, and people will probably think I'm weird and crazy with the things that I would do, but like it worked so fast. And just like I had very little self-love for myself at this point. I was going through that breakup and I was trying to figure out who I was, and everything was coming to the surface. So this is what I tried to do. And I'm realizing that this is the concept of mirror manifesting, but it works. It really, really works. And all of these things that I was manifesting came into my life quite fast, kind of faster than I ever was ready, what I thought was ready. But yeah, so it's really, really cool. I love that. I love that tip as well.
Yeah, yeah. What we're saying to ourselves is so important. The thing that the thing when it comes to affirmations is for me, there's a bit of a threshold and a fine line between lying to yourself, which will kick your ego into place and you'll be like, nope, you're lying to me, and you'll get resistance, versus choosing affirmations that are maybe a little bit open-ended, that invites something more in. So that your intuition says, yeah, let's invite that in. So
Mm.
if you're feeling like you're absolutely crumbling and you stand in front of the mirror and you say, I am strong, your intuition, so your ego is going to like, you're lying, don't trust you, versus if you're crumbling and you're saying, I am enough, the strength will come in, one step at a time, that affirmation will build the momentum. The affirmations that I tend to play with, it pretty much comes back to that same one of going, how can this get any better? Uh, what is the possibility that I'm open to now? And open-ended affirmations. But if affirmations work for you, Jess, and your listeners, absolutely go with it. I just know from my own experience that if I'm in a hole, that is not the time to use that tool. But
Mm-hmm.
but yes, standing in front of the mirror saying, I'm really, really grateful for my hands that demonstrate and illustrate what I'm talking about. I'm really grateful for my eyelashes. And just choosing that one little thing and then letting the momentum build for that self-confidence and to train yourself to have better language with yourself. Yeah, it goes a
Mm.
long way.
Yeah, it's so true. So not only are we talking about language for the things that, we're manifesting, like, we're not trying to focus on debt, debt, debt. We're trying to focus on commitments. Commitments was the word, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And also the language that you use within yourself, just language all round. Let that just be, a core value of yours or something like, okay, or something that's constantly in the back of your mind, language, 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 language. Um, yeah, I really, really love that. So, something else that I had a question on was, well, really, I hear some people speaking about, I want to manifest this thing into my life, but I'm being really impatient. And then you get
Yeah,
someone else, or even them saying, just trust in divine timing. And a lot of people, I love surrender and I love
yeah.
trust. But for some people, it probably annoys them so much when they hear these words. But can we just put some light to these words?
There is divine timing. There is divine timing. You plant a seed and it takes however long it takes, the cycles and the water and the sun, to let that bloom. But with that is the surrender. I've planted a seed. I know it will come. But if you've got a manifestation and you are getting impatient and you're kind of white knuckling and things are dropping all around you, but when you have that sense of urgency and impatience, do you know that's actually when I'm going to lean in and book in with my coach, my healer, so on and so forth, because I've got that desire for a reason. It's not happening, and I want to sort out where my body, my intuition, my ego is bringing up that sense of urgency. So let's bring it back to somebody who wants to be a mum. They want to manifest in a pregnancy, a baby, and it's not happening for them, I am going to get them to do some inner work on their fear of being a mum, fear of losing another baby, fear of something that's going on there that's flooding your system with cortisol and stopping that little one coming in. So I'm not going to so much work on the surrender and trust. I'm actually going to go do some work and clear the fear. And then pretty much once that woman, is pregnant and it's a safe, healthy pregnancy, that impatience goes away. It's like, okay, I know I've got to get to 40 weeks, but it's here, and there's other circumstances, but there's the sense of trust that it's on its way versus, so we still have to do that work. That's what I'm trying to say. But when it comes to divine timing, and you've tried for a baby for 8 years and it's not happening, this isn't divine timing. This is you blocking it from happening. That's yeah, I'm probably opening up a can of worms there, but this is where, like for me, being stuck with the crappy car, where's the black four-wheel drive? There was no amount of surrender that was going to bring that car in. I actually had to do some work and action and sort it out. But it's in context of, are you impatient because you're naturally impatient, or are you impatient because your intuition is saying it should be here by now? So
Mm.
I'm going to ask that annoying question. Does that make sense, Jess?
It's not annoying at all. And I always say yes because I always completely understand your explanations. I think your explanations are great. Yeah, I get that. And it is really funny because yeah, I do get a lot of people, I do hear a lot of people saying this, and there is that like that mistrust and all of that. But yeah, I think that can help the listeners.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not going
Yeah,
to tell you to trust in divine timing. If you've got that desire for a reason and it's not here yet, let's look at why
yeah.
you're blocking it, and the self-sabotage, the energy. There's a very, very quick example of that. When I'm working with people who want to manifest in clients for their own business, a really good example of this is I worked with somebody who wanted clients. Where are the clients? Where are the clients? They're not here. And of course, you need the clients. Of course, you're going to get impatient with that. This is your business. This is your dream. And we took that person back to the womb space or being adopted. I can't remember the exact scenario, but there was a decision made on their identity that I'm not worth having, I'm not worth being seen, I'm not worth, all of those things. If my mother doesn't value me, then who will? And this was this energy that was held in their energy field, so that when they went out there with their marketing, paying thousands of dollars for their marketing and all the la-di-da stuff, the minute that that energy got dropped of why am I not worth finding, nobody wants me, all of that, that person was inundated, inundated with clients. And it wasn't because the marketing got better. It was because they dropped down all of their resistance, their nonsense about what they were saying to themselves. So was that divine timing that I came in to clear that stuff, or was it actually just time for him to have the success that his intuition knew he deserved? So I'll leave that one
Mm.
with your listeners. And
I really like that. And I feel like basically, if you want to manifest something into your life, go and do the work, go and do the behind the scenes work because it'll come in fast. It will come in fast. But it's going to be a elongated process, and there's going to be some back and forth, and there's going to be this and there's going to be that. But if you just make that decision to go do the work and go dive into, go see what's happening around here, because I know there's a lot of fear about like whatever could come up. I've had that myself, but like just if you can find that courage to go do that work, everything will come into your like into your entire world. Like as Claire said, then they were inundated with clients and they were getting so impatient, and all of a sudden they've got all these clients that they have more clients than they know what to do with, you know.
yeah,
So I think that is the work to be done, right? I think that's what I'm getting at from this episode mostly is like go and do the work and go and dive into it all.
yeah, go pull
Yeah.
out those weeds so that the garden can grow. So,
Mm, yeah.
yeah, yeah, we've all got
Um,
work. We've all got work to do. Even the top coaches, the multimillionaire, billionaire people, everybody's got a dream, a goal for a reason, and it's that growth and that evolution that drives us forward. So, I haven't met one
mm,
person who if you've ever experienced what Jess is talking about with resolving, clearing something, and then the results show up, the next time that you find yourself wanting something, it's not happening. It's like, I have the answers now. I have the sense of empowerment. I can go do the work. This isn't a life sentence. I can actually go and make changes. And so, people say, oh, well, I've done so much coaching. And like, yeah, but we're talking about a new goal now. We're talking now about a new inspiration, a new project. And it is, again, my metaphors, it is like being that photographer. You take a photo of the engagement, you do some coaching there. And you take a photo of the wedding and you do some coaching there. You take a photo of the newborn and you do, and so on and so forth. Like finding a variety of different coaches to help you in different areas of your life achieve that different version of success. It is a life process. And I know for myself, if I ever have a break from coaching, boy, oh boy, I miss it. I'm really
Mm,
really imagine you're similar, Jess, is like that
yeah.
it's not an addiction, but it's like, how do we create a beautiful life? How do we share that with other people of what is possible? So yeah.
Because essentially what we want are the feelings that we want, right? And coaching, I guess, for you and I, gives us those feelings. So, and that's what we try to manifest in. So, so if we're taking
Yeah,
that away for a little bit, it's like, oh, of course we miss it.
yeah. How can it get any better? I want more.
Yeah. And so this is definitely all connected, but something that I have heard a lot is there are always signs. There are when you want to manifest something into your life, you kind of just want it, right? But there are always signs, and there are always it's like a recipe for me. Like
Mm.
the outcome or your manifest, the thing you're trying to manifest in is a cake, but I use the word the universe. You can use whatever word you like. That's completely up to you. But I like to say the universe is giving me the ingredients. So I'm getting the flour.
Yeah.
That's one sign. I'm getting I don't know how you make a
The
cake. I'm not a
eggs, the
chef. You
sugar.
get the eggs, the sugar. And these are all different signs, right? And I feel like thinking about this now, all of these different signs for me have sort of been around pulling out a specific weed and then pulling out another weed. And then that moves me on to the next weed because only then can I see the next weed. And then once I've got all of those weeds, once I've got all of those ingredients, voila, there's my
Yeah.
manifestation.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing with that one, I love that. I love the cake scenario because the thing is with what you've done, Jess, is you've experimented with your cake recipe. Previously, you may have put the flour, the flour, the milk, and the butter together, put it in the oven, got the cake, and then you put the eggs on it and you've turned it into a complete mess. And you go like, that didn't work. Go back to your coach. Okay, now let's try the milk, the eggs, the butter all together and get the cake as a result. So it is trial and error. It is working out what works for you. And that's why I know I've brought up a few times, but meditation doesn't work for me. So
Mm,
I don't do that. That's a step that actually doesn't get
mm,
me what I want. But for you, Jess, it does work. And that's why you
mm,
put your eggs and your milk all together to get the outcome that you want. And that's where the manifestation is unique to everybody. Everybody's garden is different, everybody's recipes are different. And it's about working and plodding along to work out what is the strategy and what works for you. So I love that you
mm.
brought up that cake scenario, Jess, because it's really important to people that you have to work out what works for you and your unique self, rather than what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Like, no, work it out
Mm,
what works for you. So yeah,
mm. Yeah, well,
we could talk for hours.
like I've said a couple times actually, and I know you do too. I understand best in metaphors, and I know that you love to use metaphors. That's probably why I love learning off of you, and that's why I love to teach you metaphors too. So that's great.
Works well when I'm teaching people NLP as well and the tarot.
Yeah, yes, and yep, it definitely does. So yeah, Claire, I feel like my questions, I've just had the best conversation with you because all the questions that I had, I feel like I completely understand now, and there's been some there's been some aha moments for sure in here. But was there
Yeah.
anything else that you think we should definitely cover on manifestation?
No, I love ending it on the cake metaphor. I just like, let's go have some yummy cake now. Like I've been manifesting that. Yay.
As long as I'm not making it, because clearly I don't know how to make a cake. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to say
Oh,
big thank you, Jess, because you asked the most beautiful, dynamic questions. I know I keep saying that, but they're really thought-provoking. And thank you to the listeners who did submit their questions, because I live this day in, day out. So some of the questions that you asked about, like what's manifesting in a nutshell, like, oh, that's easy to answer. And
mm,
yeah, it helps me get a new point of view of what the curiosity is like when you start manifesting. So have fun with that, everybody.
mm. Yeah, definitely have fun with that. And I just want to thank you too, Claire. I mean, I love our conversations always. I think we could talk forever. Like we've probably been on the phone for a long time before we even press record, and we could just talk forever and ever about these things. But yeah, I just want to thank you so much for being that expert that I have that someone that I can ask, and for the listeners that have submitted questions, I can ask their questions and my own questions and get clarity on my own things, and for everyone else as well. And I do know that these episodes do help people, because I've had some great feedback from, I've only put out the tarot episode at the moment, but I've had some great feedback. So that I feel like our purposes together are being fulfilled right now.
Yay! Oh, thank you, Jess.
And as always, we will put Claire's everything, where you want to find her, her Instagram and everything, into the show notes below. So you can go and check her out and everything she does and all her amazing resources, like I keep saying.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Jess.
Bye.